You can lose a month of income and the freedom to travel because of one clause in a contract you glanced over. I know someone who landed a high-paying pop-up in Europe and only realized 3 weeks in that their gig met local employment rules. Suddenly, payroll obligations, a penalty notice, and a scramble back home. Let's get real about this. Mobility is fragile, and a quick checklist can save you months of headaches. Today, we teach a 10-minute compliance quick scan you can run on any local or remote opportunity.
I love that story because it has exactly 2 genres, tragic and totally avoidable. Hi everyone, I'm Lyra, the one who reads contracts with a flashlight at 2 a.m. and asks the awkward questions so you don't have to. We'll be practical, a little blunt, and yes, we'll give you scripts you can copy and paste.
Quick housekeeping. This episode is operational triage, not legal or tax advice. We will repeat that before the role plays. Every case on the air is pre-screened and anonymized. Use our checklist as a conservative triage tool. If anything flags red, pause and get licensed counsel in that jurisdiction before you sign or board a one-way plane.
Exactly. Think of this as the 10-minute safety inspection, a set of signals that tell you whether an opportunity is low risk, needs careful repair, or should be walked away from until you get counsel. We'll walk through the 10 one-question signals, then 3 conservative repair patterns, and finish with 2 live anonymized rewrites and a 7-day sprint you can run immediately.
All right, let's dive into the quick scan. The idea is simple. 10 one-question signals you can ask and answer in 10 minutes. For each signal, we'll give you green, amber, and red thresholds, and an example you might actually see on a gig posting or contract.
Signal 1. Payment path. Question: who pays you and how does the money move? Green: you invoice a registered business or marketplace, paid to your business account, with a traceable invoice. Amber: client asks to pay you via personal transfer or a family member's account, or asks for cash on delivery. Red: client insists on payment to a personal account in another country or via opaque channels like gift cards.
Example for payment path: green looks like a contract that says, invoice to Acme SRL, payment via bank transfer to your business account within 30 days. Amber is, we usually pay people via Venmo or local cash pickup. Red is, please accept payment through a private account and we won't issue a formal invoice. If you hit amber, ask for invoicing to a business entity and record the payment trace. If it's red, hit pause.
Signal 2. Control and direction. Question: does the client set your schedule, location, and reporting lines like an employer would? Green: you set deliverables and timeline. The client cares about outcomes. Amber: client asks for daily check-ins and sets hours on some days. Red: client requires daily hours on site or a manager telling you what to do minute by minute.
Real world, we need you to be online 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. EST and report to our project manager, veers amber to red. It becomes green if you negotiate a deliverable-based rhythm. I will deliver X by Friday. I will be available for one 30-minute sync. The repair pattern here is simple. Reframe schedule demands into outcome commitments.
Signal 3. Exclusivity. Question: are you being asked to work only for this client or to avoid similar clients? Green: you retain the right to work with other clients. Non-exclusive. Amber: there's language that discourages work in the same field for the contract duration. Red: a strict non-compete or exclusivity clause without compensation.
If a client insists on exclusivity, ask for fair compensation or limit the scope to a narrow geography or product. Often a simple sentence swap, non-exclusive, is the difference between a safe freelance engagement and one that reads like employment.
Signal 4. Schedule and hours. Question: are hours specified or is the work deliverable based? Green: clear deliverables and flexible hours. Amber: required core hours in a specific time zone. Red: full-time hours specified, especially if combined with client control.
Mitigation. Negotiate a pilot, time-boxed paid test that defines hours and deliverables for a short period. If the client insists on permanent hours, consider structuring it as a short-term contract for service with explicit end dates and renewal terms.
Signal 5, venue and permit flags. Question: does the work require local presence or special permits? Green: remote consulting with no local permit needs. Amber: short pop-ups that may require a local business registration or permit. Red: work that requires local employment authorization or on-site labor that local law treats as employment.
Teaching a paid workshop in a city often needs a temporary business permit or event registration. If a client wants you on the ground and they're not clarifying permits or employer responsibilities, ask them who will cover registration and legal compliance and require that answer in writing.
Signal 6, barter and non-monetary compensation. Question: is the offer partly or fully barter? Green: barter is clearly valued and taxable amounts are documented, and you still receive a taxable financial payment that meets visa thresholds. Amber: mixed payment with vague valuation. Red: full barter or compensation in goods or services without valuation.
Repair tip: insist on a monetary component for clear invoicing or get a written valuation for the barter that you report. Barter can trigger tax and VAT obligations. Don't let a trade for exposure line be the whole compensation.
Signal 7, invoicing method. Question: do you invoice as a contractor or are you put on payroll? Green: you invoice as a contractor with 1099 style or B2B invoices. Amber: client has set PAY or wants to run payroll locally. Red: client insists you be on their payroll without considering your tax or permit status.
If a client suggests payroll, ask why. Sometimes it's simpler for them, but it creates employment and tax obligations for you. Offer the contract for service alternative and explain you will invoice through your business for the agreed deliverables.
Signal 8, repeat pattern. Question: is this a one-off or a repeated engagement that looks like sustained work? Green: single project with clear end. Amber: repeated short projects that add up to continuous service. Red: ongoing repeated work with the same client over months without contractor language.
If it looks like a steady retainer, structure it as a defined retainer with payment terms, deliverables, and an expiration or review date. That makes obligations clear and helps if a tax authority questions the arrangement.
Signal 9, detectable tax triggers. Question: could this create a tax presence or a withholding obligation in the client's country? Green: client pays you without creating a permanent establishment or payroll obligation. Amber: some local withholding expected, but client provides guidance. Red: client's country law likely treats the activity as taxable income with withholding or registration duties.
If you're unsure, ask the client if they will withhold tax and whether they'll provide the documentation. If they expect you to handle it, ask for a conservative stop threshold and consult a local tax advisor before proceeding.
Signal 10, contract language. Question: does the contract use contractor, consultant, or employee language? And are there indemnities or IP assignments? Green: clear consultant or contractor language. Scope defined, IP assignments limited to deliverables. Amber: mixed language or vague IP clauses. Red: employment contract language with restrictive IP and indemnity clauses that bind you broadly.
Always read the definition section. A clause that says company supervisor may direct the consultant's daily tasks is a control flag. For IP, negotiate assignment only for the specific deliverable and retain portfolio rights or license back language for your work samples.
Okay, those were the 10 signals. Quick recap: payment path, control, exclusivity, schedule, venue/permits, barter, invoicing, repeat pattern, tax triggers, and contract language. If 2 or more hit red, stop and get counsel. If 1 or 2 hit amber, use a repair pattern. That brings us to the 3 conservative repair patterns.
Repair pattern 1, time-boxed paid pilot. This is a short paid engagement, usually 2 to 4 weeks, that defines deliverables, payments, and a clear exit. It lets you test real working rhythms, confirm permit needs, and avoid long-term classification risk.
I propose a 2-week paid pilot. Deliverable X by day 10, one final review meeting, and payment on invoice within 14 days. At the end, we'll evaluate scope and, if we both want to continue, sign a new scope document. That phrasing limits implied continuous employment and gives you a controlled test.
Repair pattern 2, deliverable-based contract for service. Focus the agreement on outcomes, not hours. Define exact deliverables, acceptance criteria, and payment tied to delivery. Include a clause that you control methods and timing.
Example clause: contractor will deliver X, Y, Z. Contractor retains control over means and methods to achieve deliverables. Client approval is limited to acceptance testing of deliverables, not daily supervision. That's the language that keeps things in contractor territory.
Repair pattern 3, narrow referral or agent structuring. If the client wants exclusivity or a deep relationship, consider a referral or agency structure where you act as a finder or agent, getting a fee per lead or referral. That moves you toward intermediary status and away from employment, but needs careful documentation.
For any repair, document rollback rules. What happens if either party wants to stop after the pilot, who pays for permits, and how IP and taxes are handled. Put those in writing before work begins. Don't trust a "we'll sort it later" line.
All right, we're going to do 2 short anonymized listener clinics. Reminder, we've pre-screened and anonymized the submissions. We'll repeat our disclaimer before each clinic. These are demonstration rewrites only. If you want tailored legal or tax advice, consult counsel in the jurisdiction involved.
Case 1. Anonymized maker in Latin America was hired to run a week-long paid workshop in country A. Contract says client will provide a space and attendees, and payment will be split, 70% to the organizer, 30% to the maker, via a local bank account. First run through the quick scan, payment path looks amber to red because payment route is through the organizer's local account. Venue and permit flags are amber because it's an event. Invoicing is unclear.
My immediate red flags: who's responsible for local registration and who bears withholding or VAT. Repair suggestion: propose a time-boxed pilot or modify payment so you invoice the organizer's business directly for your 30%, with an explicit line in the contract that the organizer will handle local permits and provide proof in writing. Add a clause that if the organizer cannot provide permit confirmation, you will convert to a remote workshop or postpone.
I would add a fallback payment path. Require a payment to your business account for your 30% or a prepayment deposit that covers your traveling costs. And add a stop condition. If organizer cannot confirm registration 14 days prior, the event will be postponed and deposit returned. Those are conservative stop thresholds listeners can copy.
Good. Case 2. An anonymized developer from Southeast Asia is offered a 6-month remote contract with daily stand-ups at 9 a.m. client time, IP assignment for all code, and payment through a U.S. personal PayPal account. Quick scan flags: control and schedule red because of daily stand-ups, IP and contract language red due to broad assignment, payment path red amber because of personal PayPal.
Repair pattern: convert to a 2-month paid pilot with deliverable milestones and defined acceptance testing windows. Tighten the IP clause to assign IP only for code specifically paid under the contract and grant you a license to reuse non-client specific code. For payment, insist on business invoicing or escrow for the pilot.
And add a visibility clause. Limit daily syncs to twice weekly, unless the pilot proves a need for more frequent coordination. This reduces the employee-like schedule while still giving them what they want during the test period.
Both rewrites show the pattern. Convert ambiguous or risky asks into short, paid, documented pilots or outcome-based contracts. Insist on clean payment paths and add stop conditions. Those 3 moves buy time and evidence if a regulator ever asks what the relationship really was.
Next, the 7-day compliance sprint. This is a low-risk, step-by-step plan to test one local monetization play safely. Day 1, run the 10-minute quick scan and mark signals red, amber, green. Day 2, decide repair pattern, pilot, contract for service, or referral. Day 3, send the client the negotiated pilot or contract language with clear stop conditions. Day 4, secure deposit or escrow payment path, confirm permit or clarify responsibility. Day 5, run the pilot and document communications and work products. Day 6, evaluate success signals, payment cleared, no permit issues, client cooperation. Day 7, decide next step, scale, renegotiate for a retainer with counsel, or walk away.
Success signals to watch for during the sprint: clear payment trace, written permit confirmation if needed, limited control demands, and a contract that maps to deliverables. Stop conditions: client refuses invoicing, insists on payroll, or cannot provide permit proof when needed. If any stop condition hits, pause and get counsel.
And add a fifth. If we do a pilot and the relationship continues, what's the cleanest contractual path to scale without creating employment? That one saves a lot of back and forth later.
Okay, 3 quick takeaways. 1, run the 10-minute quick scan on every new opportunity. 2, if amber or red flags appear, prefer short paid pilots, deliverable-based contracts, or referral structures. Document rollback rules. 3, use our 7-day sprint to test locally and stop fast if stop conditions are met.
If you want the checklist, the script templates, and the conservative stop thresholds we mentioned, they're on the episode page at nomadlifesuccess.com. Download the compliance quick scan checklist, paste the scripts into your outreach, and run the 7-day sprint on one opportunity this month.
Remember, freedom isn't luck, it's strategy. Take 5 minutes now to run the quick scan on your next gig. If something flags red, pause, document, and get counsel. Grab the free checklist and the sample contract language at nomadlifesuccess.com. Your freedom is closer than it feels. Let's keep building it.